Welcome to the latest installment of the Corner Three Pod. Jalen Brunson is currently one of only six players in NBA history to average 30 plus points per game in the playoffs with a single franchise, of course, minimum 25 games played. We are in the conference finals of the NBA playoffs. Before we get into that, fellas, how are y'all doing?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be back. We were supposed to record what was it, Sunday? But I had a bad headache, so it's my fault for anybody out there who was looking for us while we're whatever. I don't know if Tone's putting this out tomorrow or whatever. Oh, we're live, never mind. But whatever. It's my fault that we didn't record Sunday, but we're here now.
It's all good. We here now. It's all that matters. And you feeling better. That's what's the most important.
I'm feeling and I didn't realize we had a new quarterback because that's not Tone. it's not Tone sitting there because Tone I know had a big old fro.
We got Michael Jordan.
We got MJ. We got 45. We got 45 with us, not 23.
45. I'm back. All right, we got the starting off T-Wolves Thunders series. We're gonna do something a little different on this episode for y'all. We might have this be a part of the actual continual segment here and there for each episode, but we're gonna do something called Defend Your Client with some pretty important cases going out right now that we know about. We're gonna do Defend Your Client. So I'm gonna give Jarrett and Rush, they have to defend their client on these questions. On this one, we have Rush will be defending anything concerning the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jarrett will be defending anything concerning the Minnesota Timberwolves. First one we have set up. Anthony Edwards, coming into this series, is going to have to deal with, obviously, Oklahoma City and their perimeter defenders. In the regular season, they held him to 22.3 points on 36, 32, 83 shooting splits with 6 assists, but 3.5 turnovers per game. Who will have the more successful series, Ant Edwards or the Oklahoma City's perimeter defenders? Jarrett, you started off. You got Ant-Man.
Okay. So I think Ant will have the better series. It always seems like Ant turns it up playoff time, and it seems like the Timberwolves are starting to find their stride. Regular season, they was kind of struggling, trying to figure things out. Spacing wise, it wasn't ideal for them, but they seem to figure out a nice um, lineup with Nas Reed, Julius Randle playing together, throwing Ant-Man out there. And I feel like, that size and that versatility in the front court will actually free up Ant-Man against the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense because you can't necessarily double him because Randall's been rolling, Nas Reed can get high at any time. And then if you say you throw DiVincenzo in that lineup as well, that's another shooter that you could throw out there to space the floor for Ant. So I think that he will have some good success against this defense this time around.
Rush, OKC will be successful with their perimeter defenders against Anthony Edwards. Why?
Well, I just think the number of different bodies that they can throw at them and just the number of different looks. Like every stout perimeter defender that they have, defends differently, right? I mean, we just saw Alex Caruso have Jokic in hell for a couple of possessions. Now, I think a lot of people will look at it and say, well, they were letting Caruso be physical, but, it's the playoffs and little guys generally get the benefit of the doubt. Refs tend to look the other way when little guys are defending the big players. But, I mean, you've got Caruso, you got Dort, you got Case and Wallace. I imagine all three of those guys will see their share of time guarding Ant. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe try to play straight up, maybe with a help shade, maybe with, some help behind him. We saw the Lakers try to blitz Ant and he just picked them apart. Now, obviously, OKC is a much better defensive team than the Los Angeles Lakers, as much as it pains pains me to say. I hate to keep throwing strays at my Lakers, but I'll be very, very interested to see exactly how OKC guards Ant to start, if they just let the guys play straight up, or if they try to blitz, if they just try to shade over, have a guy come over from the weak side. But it'll be interesting. It's not going to be easy. This will probably be the deepest team in terms of defensive minded wings that the Wolves have faced so far in this postseason. And I don't know. I like OKC's chances just because of the number of guys that they can throw in, and who knows, they may wear him down. But this is going against the rules of the game. I also won't be surprised if Ant tears him apart, because we've seen what he's been doing this postseason. So, but I like OKC's chances on defense, at least to slow him down a little bit.
Speaking of tearing him up, a player that has been on a tear is Julius Randle. We gave him a bunch of love last episode, but coming into this series, can Julius Randle actually keep this up? Starting off, Rush, you will defend why OKC is going to actually be able to slow down Julius Randle.
I think they can put a taller defender on him. I don't know that anyone would put Isaiah Hartenstein in the same category of defensive prowess as Draymond Green, but he is taller. He's a little bit bigger. I think they may try to slot iHeart onto Randle to start and try to hide Chet on Rudy Gobert, just because I think even though Chet's like 7'2", I think Randle might put a hole in his chest the first time he tries to drive through the hoop. So I think that might be the matchup to start, and I think it's a key matchup to see who they do put on Randle. If it is iHeart, I think he can maybe have some success, but again, going against the rules, I mean, Julius Randle's been balling this postseason, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue. But again, when you just talk about sheer team defense, there's no team playing better right now, and there was pretty much no team better holistically than the Oklahoma City Thunder throughout this this entire season. So they like to get turnovers, they like to get out in transition, they definitely like to make things hectic and not make things easy for offenses. So I don't see any reason why that won't continue, but we never know until the ball tips up.
Ball will be tipping up in about an hour 15, based off of the time that we're recording now. Jarrett, your man's Julius Randle. You've been adamant throughout the season until as of late with how Cat has played that you did not want the trade to happen. You have seen how he's played in the playoffs, and you have been on record saying, I told y'all this is what he was capable of. Does this continue and help them elevate into getting into Minnesota's first ever finals appearance?
Yeah, I think that like Rush said, they'll probably put iHeart on him to start, but Randle's a lot faster than iHeart foot to be wise, so I feel like he could get past him with pretty good success. After that, it's not a lot of players who could really try to physically match up with Randle other than iHeart, because if it's Chet down there, he's like Rush said, he's going to put a hole in his chest. So I think Randle's going to have a really good series. Judging how he decides to play, like if he decides to, attack the basket, use his physicality against the defense, then he will have a lot of success. Don't try to play on the perimeter too much, because all them perimeter defenders are out there who are looking to steal the ball once you put it on the floor. So I would say, use your size. If they put a smaller player on you, use your size, back them down, get around them, shoot over them. But if it's iHeart that's guarding him, then just go around him. You can take Chet down there. Once you get down there, even though he's longer, you can put shoulders in, throw elbow at him, knock him down a little bit. And then Chet would think twice about actually, trying to go up with Randle. So I think Randle will have a pretty good series.
Now, in these playoffs right here, OKC has outscored their opponents by 8.7 points per game in the restricted area. The Timberwolves are second at 7.4 points of outscoring their opponents in the restricted area. Jarrett, who wins the matchup, who wins the battle in the paint. We talk about, we hear the discussion, three-pointers. They get their 3-pointers up, but they still are actually doing a great job because they're outscoring their opponents in the paint.
So, if I don't want to say it's, I mean, I think we can say that Rudy Gobert is probably a better scorer than Ihart in the paint, as far as catching lobs and kind of using his size when Rudy wants to actually use his size and not try to do a bunch of craziness in the paint. Rudy can score in there. So with him, Nas Reed, and Julius Randle, and of course Ant Man, who's going to attack the rim. I feel like they're going to have more points in the paint as far as OKC, who likes to get up a lot of 3-pointers. Shea does a lot of his damage in the mid range, so does J Dub. Um, they don't really have anybody who's really a big threat on the inside. So I feel like Minnesota will have that advantage.
Do I get a prompt or do I just respond?
You just
for anybody who's tuning in, I can't see YouTube, so I don't know if anybody's in here or not. But for anybody who listens or watches this, we're fortunate enough to be part of the Basketball Intelligence network of basketball podcasts, and one of the other shows is No Gimmies, which features our good friends Aaron and Evan. And Evan is probably the most notorious Oklahoma City Thunder fan I've met in my lifetime. And I have no doubt that he's going to listen to this. And I think he's going to flip a table when he hears that Jarrett said Rudy Gobert.
Forgive me, Evan. Forgive me.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple tables flipped. That notwithstanding. But I think we need to take into context when we talk about Minnesota and why their points in the paint is so high. And look at who they've played. Played the Lakers, no center. I mean, you get past the first defender, the lane just parted like the Red Sea. The Lakers had absolutely no resistance at the paint or at the rim. We saw Ant time and time again. Once he got past that first defender, I mean, it was Olay all day. Golden State, somewhat similar. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot of resistance at the rim. Draymond did his best, but he could only do so much, and I think Randall wore him down as he sort of conceded the matchup on his podcast this week. And Gobert was just taller and just physically just more dominant than all of the other bigs that both those teams have. Maybe with the exception of Ludio, he's a little stout, but he's shorter. So with Ihart, I think this will be somewhat of an even matchup in terms size wise and in terms of ability. So I'll be very interested to see how Minnesota fares at the rim in this series relative to the previous two, because I think just defensively, Oklahoma City is just a whole different machine. I mean, you can run down all of the different categories in which they're number one or top three in the league defensively. So. That's not Timberwolves hate. I mean, that's just objectively looking at the two opponents they played before OKC. So that is one part of the matchup that I'll be very interested to see how both teams fare, which is why, because I know I'm supposed to take the counter. I think OKC can give them some problems, and I think we'll see Oklahoma fare, if I had to guess, probably a little less successful than what they've been at the rim, just with that defense. And with the defensive resistance on the perimeter as well. But, it's going to be a fun series, man. I can't wait. Like, I'm pretty amped for this. This is as excited as I've been for a series so far outside of the Lakers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who comes out strong this first game. And can we talk about how ridiculous it is that the Western Conference Finals is playing before the Eastern Conference Finals? Like, how wild it is. I don't know what Adam Silver is doing. I'm pro Adam Silver. I think he's done a lot of great things for the league, but it's ridiculous. It don't make no sense. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
I was shocked when I saw it too as well. Now, one of the main matchups, of course, we could, after game one, we will probably discuss and throughout the series, the others, the supporting cast, but the main box office matchup that everybody is tuning in for is Ant-Man and that bad man MVP SGA. Rush, if you can do us the pleasure and break down why SGA will be the best player in this series.
I think he's ready for the moment, to be honest with you. I think he was very candid and vulnerable in the post-game presser after they beat Denver when he said he was nervous to start the game. I don't know how many superstars would actually sort of admit to that. But I think that just sort of embodies like Shea. I mean, you get what you see. I mean, he is what he is. And he's just sort of found ways to figure it out throughout the course of this postseason. He'll have a bad game like when they lost. I can't remember what game it was. Maybe it was game 4 when they lost in Denver and everybody was trying to get on him because he was smiling. I think he is enjoying this process. I do think he's going to be the MVP. I think that might be why the league waited to see who won the series, because they're being messy. But anyways, and I mean, we just look at his body of work this year. I mean, he's just so savvy. He can get to the line. He can give it to you from 3 levels. Not as strong from deep, but I mean, we've seen him go on heaters. So no team has been able to sort of find the code to locking Shea down. But the problem is that even if Shea's having an off game, you've got Jalen Williams, right? You've got Case and Wallace, who can create offense out of nothing, can turn defense into offense. You've got Chet. So Shea has sort of carried this team throughout the regular season, and J-Dub has had a tremendous season as well. But I think this team is just really clicking on all cylinders right now. And I think Shea sort of senses that this is his opportunity to sort of, he's probably got the MVP wrapped up, but sort of affirm that he should have it. And I think this series is going to be the stage for him to do it. And I think personally he does it, whether that we were having this discussion or not. So again, I'm just excited to see it happen.
Jarrett, you on the other hand, you have to go defend your client, Anthony Edwards, which there's a lot that he would need defending for, but we just going to talk about strictly basketball in this series.
So I feel like, Ant, he's had his moments this season. He also had his moments last season. I feel like last season it kind of validated that he is a big time playoff performer, and he's been in these moments already. So I feel like the lights is not going to be too bright for him. He's going to embrace it. He's going to run to it, and he's going to want the smoke with Shea. He's going to probably be guarding him, and then he's going to be looking to defend him. He's going to be looking to, get it in with him. So I feel like Ant is ready for this moment. He probably taking the matchup personal as well because he probably feels like he should be in the conversation for MVP as well. He hasn't came out and said anything about it, but he probably feels that way. He's cut from that mold of like the MJs, the Kobe's, who take things personally, and you can tell like he likes these challenges. He likes talking mess to the crowd, to the players. He's just about it. So I feel like he's just gonna come out. He's gonna attack full force and go right at SGA and show him who's the best player in this series, and is gonna really put on performance. I'm really excited for this series too.
All right, I need y'all predictions. I mean, we kind of all know if y'all been paying attention to the Corner Three or just pay attention to the mayor's threads, he's been saying he has OKC winning it. But just to reiterate it for those that might have missed it, because I mean, even on TikTok, they know about the mayor. So if for some reason you might have missed it, what's y'all predictions of how this series goes?
The crazy TikTok thing, by the way. I'm not gonna lie. I do my best to be objective when I'm talking hoop, like 98% of the time. But the Timberwolves sent my Lakers home, and I had to eat crow, and all those Lakers fans had to eat crow from Timberwolves fans. And we're still eating it because they're still playing. So I'm not going to lie to y'all, man. I got a couple of memes locked and loaded in the drafts, all right? And there's nothing I want more than to be able to unleash them on the timeline when the Timberwolves lose. But I'm able to say that because my pick was already OKC to win the finals. So I say OKC in 6. I do think it's going to be a hard 6, maybe one blowout game because we've just kind of seen that. OKC has tremendous home court advantage. So like tonight, if Minnesota just comes out, thinking that just because they're rested, they're automatically going to, have the upper hand, and OKC is in rhythm, we could see one tonight. But I think OKC can get it done in 6. But 7 wouldn't surprise me. And, either team winning wouldn't surprise me. But I hope it's OKC so I can put these memes on the timeline.
Jarrett, you got OKC as well?
So I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go with Minnesota, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I want everybody to finally give Julius Randle his flowers, and he's showing that he's a big time playoff performer. I've watched Julius Randle from when he led the Knicks to the playoffs, and everybody was saying how he didn't perform. He had an ankle injury. That's one thing. Also, that whole team, it wasn't that good. Be honest with you. Like RJ struggled. Derrick Rose was our second best player on that team that playoff run, and D Rose was on his last legs as well. You got Nerlens Noel playing center. He's not a scorer. He's just a shot blocker, but he couldn't really do anything against Clint Capella and John Collins. And our starting point guard was Alfred Payton. And shout out to Alfred Payton, great player. Can't shoot for a lick, but could get a triple double somehow, some way, and held us down that playoff run, but couldn't do anything against Trae Young. So Randall, he kept getting hurt these playoff runs. So I think that this season he's actually healthy. He's actually showing what he can do. So I'm going with the Timberwolves.
Perfect transition because Knicks Pacers is the next series, and you, of course, naturally will be defending your Knicks. I want to start off with you regarding the New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Karl Anthony Towns, Bodega Cat. This man has had a very good regular season in regards of playing the Indiana Pacers. In playing the Indiana Pacers this season so far, he is shooting 56, 46, 88 while averaging 30.3 points per game. Will Cat be able to keep up his production against the Pacers that we saw in the regular season?
So yeah, I think Cat is. You guys know I was very adamant about Cat to start the season. How I thought he was going to play during the playoffs because of his past transgressions, but he's playing really good this season. So I feel like he's going to keep it up.
What do they call him, the big bodega?
Big Bodega. So, and Miles Turner, he's a good defender. But Cat, I think Cat can really do some numbers on him. Cat is a great rebounder. Miles Turner is not much of a rebounder. He only averages about 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds. Cat averaged 12 rebounds on the season, and he's gonna stretch him out to the 3 point line. He's gonna be physical with him, so I feel like Cat is gonna get his numbers this series.
Now, we've talked about it. Rush has mentioned it. Jared has mentioned it in the past series, how Rick Carlisle, we all talk about the Indiana Pacers in regards to their offense and how great it is. But we also have pointed out Rick Carlisle got them playing some defense. Now, Cat has had success in the regular season against the Indiana Pacers. You are defending the Pacers that, hey, they going to figure something out during this series and be able to slow them down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think Indiana. I mean, they went to that zone with Cleveland and they gave Cleveland problems. They've been able to get timely stops. Cleveland was banged up, so I don't want to make it seem like that was Cleveland at 100%. But nonetheless, they rolled players out, and once the ball goes up, you got who you got. But I think we've seen Indiana sort of prove that, even though they've sort of been known for this team that is all about up-tempo offense and, historic offense and all this, they can strap up. Excuse me. They can lock down when they need to. And we've sort of seen the team buy in, and you got Miles Turner sort of anchoring that defense because he's got such an efficiency for blocking shots. So, we've seen some low scoring games in these playoffs, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw a handful, maybe 2 or 3 in this series, just because I think both teams are so I think it's evenly matched series. I don't think one team is superior to the other, and I think where you're gonna find victories is sort of in the margins, X factors like we always talk about. But I think Indiana can sort of rise to the occasion defensively. And I know this wasn't part of the question, but the biggest X factor of the series, I think, is Mathurin, who was out last year. I think, he's going to be a really big piece for Indiana, and is going to be a deciding factor as to, how likely they are to advance to the finals. Yo, we in the conference finals, man. Like, I'm so excited. Like, this is the gift and the curse of basketball this time of year, because we just got past having basketball on every night. These playoffs have been phenomenal. I think the ratings are like near all-time highs for playoff basketball. But like now we're into where we're getting like the really good basketball, but we don't, I think we'll get basketball every other night for the conference finals. I think it might change in the finals. We might not get a game every single night, especially when you change locations. But like, we're getting the best basketball, but we're also getting close to the end of NBA basketball. So I'm loving the moment, but at the same time, it's like, So I'm just a little geeked out right now. But I think Indiana can do some things defensively that maybe most the general viewing public wouldn't expect. But it's going to be a dogfight, man. I don't know which way the series is going to go.
This, honestly, this is why I'm in agreement. I wanted to see this series first. Of course, the Western Conference is going to be good because as soon as this ends, we're hopping on there and we're going to be on Threads talking about it as soon as this ends. But that Knicks Pacers series, I'm locked in, because you're talking about also 2 different styles of winning. Tibbs, we know he struggled on that offensive end. He gonna have his team ready on defense, but he struggled offensively. Let's just keep it close, and we got a killer over there that's only about 6'1" that could bring it home for us. On the flip side, the Pacers, high-powered offense, but they also, if y'all want to keep it close, they can really win anyway. Y'all want to keep it close, we got a killer and what the Halley over here too. So, which style will actually win out and have the most success this series? We'll start with the Pacers and their offensive and Rick Carlisle approach.
I actually think it might be easier for the Knicks to sort of impose their will on how the game is played. Just just looking at the guys that they have and their ability to sort of disrupt things on from a defensive standpoint. You've got Hard, you've got Bridges, you've got OG, Cat, who can, who's serviceable on defense. But that boy Halliburton, man. I just think, all the noise, all the overratedness, and nobody really giving the Pacers everybody they beat was hurt. They had somebody hurt. I don't know, man. Chip on your shoulder can sometimes for the right team, the right player, chip on the shoulder can be like, what do they call it on 2K? Takeover badge can be like a takeover badge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it is. My gut is telling me that Halliburton is going to have a phenomenal series, and I think Brunson will too. That's going to be, obviously, I think the matchup everybody's going to be looking at. I don't know that they'll guard each other, but just the point guard for each team. But him and Brunson in a close game both scare me, right? I mean, we saw what Halliburton did, and we know the clutch genes that Jalen Brunson was apparently born with. But yeah, I don't know that I'm making the greatest case for the Pacers, but my gut is telling me that if it gets close, especially if you're in Indiana with a 1-1 split, you got Halliburton feeding off that crowd in Indianapolis. I think it's probably the second best home court advantage setting in the league behind OKC, maybe 1A, 1B. I just think the Pacers could do some things.
Jarrett, we've had plenty of discussions about your angst on how Tibbs runs his offense. Defensively, you don't have many concerns. What's your thoughts, and how do you think they'll be able to have success with how the offense has been going into this series?
Now, for the Knicks, they got like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing going on where sometimes they play hero ball with Brunson and it doesn't work always. But then when they're sharing the ball, everybody's touching, everybody's being aggressive and scoring, that's when they win. That's how they was able to close out Boston. I think 4 players had 20 points. 3 or 4 players had 20 points. Josh Hart had a triple-double. So if they have the ball moved around, Josh Hart is out there messing stuff up on defense and offense. Brunson is over there, doing his Brunson thing, doing his clutch thing, Captain Clutch. Cat's doing his thing. OG is out there being the 6'8" demon that he is. Then I think we can get some success. I think it will be a lot harder to guard the Knicks when everybody's being aggressive and not just standing around waiting for Brunson to, go 1-on-5. So if we stick to that game plan, we should be able to win this.
To your point, the Pacers lead the entire playoffs in assists. The Knicks are second to last. So that's going to be a huge, huge aspect, I think, in this game. And also one of the things, not the game, the series, one of the things that also will be a huge thing in the series is the Pacers are at the bottom in regards of defensive rebounding. And it's that man over there, Mitchell Robinson. When he's on the court, the Knicks have a 39.3% chance of getting their own misses, which if we put that into the regular season stats, that's top of the league, record-breaking type of percentage in that regard. So I think also, Tibbs, if you watch this, please, if Mitch is having a game where he has 12 rebounds in 5 minutes, continue to play that man, getting some playing time. Fellas, what is your prediction for this series?
Go ahead, Jarrett.
Knicks in 7. I didn't want to discredit the Pacers and say Knicks in 5, so I'm gonna give the Pacers some credit. So Knicks in 7.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've been drinking. So some of the finest bourbon available on the market. So my liquid courage is a little higher than normal. There's a part of me that wants to say Pacers in 5, just to see how hard the New York fandom comes for me. But I think it'll be a little bit closer to. I think it'll be between 6 and 7 games. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Pacers in 6, man. I think they get one in New York, and potentially, yeah, and then obviously I think they'll get at least one back home in Indiana. But I don't know. I'm just going with my gut. My dad always told me, trust your gut, son. So I'm just going with my gut. My gut's telling me Indiana.
I'll give y'all predictions. Mine, I got the Timberwolves in 6, and I got the Pacers in 6 as well. That's how I'm going right there.
Oh, man.
It should make the group chat should be very very interesting during this series.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Most definitely. Now, we're closing out this episode right here, but one of the things that came through, which you mentioned, and I had this conversation the other day with Chris Lindsay Hoops. Shout out to Chris Lindsay Hoops.
Shout out to Chris.
We are coming
to
that.
My dog.
At some point.
My same thing that you were saying, Rush, in regards to like, yo, it's great. These are 2 great series in the conference finals. But it's the conference finals, which means the end of this is coming very, very soon, like around the corner. But we are already seeing what we're going to see heavy this summer, just like any other summer. The trade rumors are flying, free agency, one that has been circulating, that has come out. We sent it to the chat. We talked about it. 76ers, possibly, even though Daryl Morey told everybody we're not trading the pick. We know Daryl Morey is not the GM to trust. 3rd overall pick with Paul George for either KD or Laurie. Do any of those trades work, you think? Do you like any of them? Or should the 76ers actually keep that 3rd pick?
I just want to go on record. Oh, go ahead, Jared. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to say you go first.
I just want to go on record that I actually floated this on the on our last pod. I was being like 65% serious. But then Bill Simmons said the same thing. So I'm like, oh shoot, I might have been on a little something. Although I said Zion, and that was probably stupid. But I mean, it just depends, right? Like if you're Philly, you've got Maxey, you've got McCain, and B's gonna be there, right? Let's just get that out the way. Do you add another young top gun to that? And then, eventually what will happen is the 3 of that top pick, probably Bailey, maybe Harper doesn't really make a lot of sense, but if he's there, I would assume Philly takes him if you're taking best available. That core nucleus, will sort of live beyond Embiid, right? Who's 31 with bad knees, 31 with bad knees. And if you're not a team that's actually trying to, if you say, hey, I'm looking at our team, we've got some talent, but I don't know that we can really stack up and compete, maybe that's the way you go. You take the best player available, and then you just grow your nucleus from there. But everything we know about Daryl Morey is that he wants to compete for a championship. So Maxey and McCain may be enough young talent, right? You may not want to add anything to that. Trade the pick, PG. Okay, Kevin Durant might be available, and I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. I don't think he's got too much left in terms of contract obligations. So I can see it going either way. If I'm Philly, I mean, I think I might try to look to move the pick in PG. Not just because I said it, the last episode. I think, depending upon who's there, who's available, the star you get, I mean, it may help you. It may keep your window, however open it is, it may help you keep that window open a little bit longer. If it's Kevin Durant, I mean, you get an all-time great player who's obviously still capable of filling it up. Durability is in question, but you've already been dealing with durability issues, so you shouldn't be scared of it. so why not? But I think I would lean towards seeing what's out there and potentially trading the pick.
Jarrett, you're talking to Daryl Morey. You got his phone number. He's texting you, asking you, "Hey, this is on the table. Should I go get Katie or should I go get Lori?" What are you telling Daryl? Which player should they try to go get?
I think the obvious pick is KD. All-time great. Somehow, some way, he's still putting up 28 a game, efficient shooting numbers. Doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. And with KD's skill set, he could play till he's like what, 40, 42, maybe. So I'd say, go after him. I do think it is a little too much for trading KD or marketing for Paul George and the third pick. I feel like that is a lot. But I mean, if you want to do it, then go ahead by all means. Um, I mean, can we honestly say marketing is like a better player than Paul George at this point in his career? What do you guys think?
I think he's a more
Safer bet.
probably a more reliable player.
Yeah.
He can probably fit into a scheme maybe a little bit better than Paul George. Yeah, that's all I would say. But so I think you probably could say he's better than Paul George at this point.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big marketing fan, to be honest with you. Ever since he was on, Chicago and Cleveland. Um, and like we said in the group chat, how he's riding away in Utah. So it's time for him to, I mean, because Utah does need the picks. They are looking to, get draft picks, and they missed out on this draft. So hey, why not make the trade? Get potentially both teams get what they want. So yeah, I say go for it. I would say probably rather marketing than KD, especially because he's younger.
I mean, I just want to add, I mean, you got to look. You signed Paul George to what, a 4-year, $200 million deal, right? Was it 3 or 4 years?
I think it's 3 with the option.
Which is 4 years. Because once he gets to the end of it, ain't no way he's opting out. I mean, it's a lot of money for a guy. I don't know. All due respect to Paul George, who's had a tremendous career, and I think is obviously still a very capable basketball player.
When healthy.
I don't know if you want to commit that much money to a guy who you probably aren't all that confident can stay healthy for more than 50 games in a given season. So that when I say all that to say, the third pick might be what it costs to get off of Paul George. I think KD's contract runs a little, not obviously, but I'm pretty sure it runs less than Paul George. I think he only has like another year on his deal. So while KD might present a similar risk in terms of availability, durability, you could count on in a couple of years, you got flexibility, you'll have options. Whereas if you keep Paul George, I hate to say it, I feel like that contract's only going to get worse and worse and worse and be tougher to move and be more expensive to move. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, man. I don't envy Daryl Morey because just as much as it seems like an easy decision, I could make the case for why it's a difficult decision as well.
Yeah, KD has it set up that he has 2025-26 season, $54 million on the books. And then at 2026-27 season, when he turns 38, he will be an unrestricted free agent. So
that's what I thought.
In that regard, I would say KD to get off of the books of Paul George and the podcast equipment. You got to throw that third pick in there as well, because Utah, wherever, may not be fans of him podcasting after the game and whatnot. Danny Ainge will love to pick though, and that's the other thing too. It's Danny Ainge that you're working with, so you gotta come off that pick, my boy. Danny Ainge love him some picks, and they're gonna figure it out. End off the show with Who did it more? I'm gonna give y'all two names. You have to tell me who did this statistic more. The statistic that we are doing today is total rebounds in the playoffs. Who did it more, Larry Bird or Dennis Rodman, in regards of rebounds total in playoffs?
Ramen.
I feel like this is a trick question, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'm gonna say Bird.
It is Larry Bird with
Oh,
1,683 rebounds in the playoffs. Rodman had 1,676. Next to Draymond Green. And this guy is very near and dear to Jarrett's heart, Patrick Ewing.
what was this question? I
Was it
didn't hear
rebound still?
Yeah, still
rebounds.
just
Oh,
rebounds.
ooh, I want to say Patrick. I would be disappointed if it's not Patrick.
I was I'm gonna go with Draymond.
Rush is 2-0 right
Ooh,
now.
come
Draymond,
on, Pat.
1,457. Pat, not that far behind, though, at 1,435. Next to Lamar Odom and NBA Threads favorite, Rudy Gobert. Who has more playoff rebounds?
Mm,
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert.
Shout out.
Hold on. Hold on. One quick question. Has Rudy Gobert missed the playoffs ever in his career?
I don't think so, because Donovan Mitchell didn't miss it when they was in Utah. They was together.
But
So
yeah, but I think Rudy was like what, 2 seasons ahead of him. So maybe
He
Rudy
may have.
missed
He may
yeah,
have
he
missed.
made it in the beginning. He may
maybe
have.
his first year or something.
Mhm.
Because that last year before Donovan came, Gordon Hayward was there, and they made the playoffs. So that was the first time Utah's been in the playoffs in some amount of years.
Check out the history right there. Look at that.
Hmm.
Oh, hey. Going in the archives right there. But it's Lamar Odom, 955
Oh,
rebounds. Rudy
the
only had
goods.
856. Last one. Now this
It's
one
actually
is
not hard
this
to
one
believe.
caught me.
Now that I think about it, it's not hard to believe. But go ahead.
This one caught me. It was very interesting. And I just realized me saying that might have given it away, but oh well. For those that's watching it and those that listen, they might not know this one. John Stockton or Carmelo Anthony, more playoff rebounds.
It's John Stockton. It has to be.
Yeah, it's Stockton.
Yeah, it's Stockton. 608.
That's
Melo has 557.
Stockton been in the playoffs for like 17 years straight or something like that. That's why.
Yeah, he better have more rebounds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Stockton was in the first ever playoffs with George Mikan, so I definitely expect him to have more than Melo. But hey, there's been a lot of conversation as of late, regarding the W that is not relating basketball. And it's been absolutely tough, specifically the WNBA, because on the internet, at least, the discussion has been everything but basketball. But if you really want to just have discussions about basketball, the X's and O's, breaking down different players and X factors and going into the history like Jarrett just did, this is the podcast for you. The Corner Three. Peace.